I'm Justin. I want to talk to you today about staff sickness. I read an article this morning and I was aghast when I saw a statistic in there. It said that on average in the UK, that average sick days per employee is up to 7.8 days. Wow, that is a huge number. I looked at my own statistics in my own organisation, and in the last year, it's next to nothing. So how come I've got 9 members of staff? I don't have the same problem. Well, I thought long and hard about this early on in my own organisation and realised that, where does staff sickness come from? And it got me really thinking about it, and I implemented a set of steps to really help drive down staff sickness. We don't want members of staff going out on the sick. It's fundamentally there's something wrong, isn't there? There are things that happen with sickness that we can't avoid. Someone breaks a leg, for example, or a serious illness comes about. But what I'm talking about here is reducing down the number of kind of very small sick days. Why are they happening? What's going on here? So what I did in my own organisation to drive down sick days is I firstly put in place a focus on health. So when a new member of staff starts with us, they get given a document, and the first couple of pages of that document are sort of about the organisation, our values, and it talks straight away about health. We have this focus on health, so if you're unwell, your job comes second and your health comes first. So there is a priority to make medical appointments, to get checkups, to do those really, really important things that you need to do. And I think that has a huge impact. People aren't sort of trying to think, oh God, I haven't got time to make a doctor's appointment, and that they go out to go and seek medical help first and foremost. We encourage people as well to come back to work when they're fit and well. I've had a couple of occasions where I've had one particular member of staff. He was really, really unwell, key to the team, and we said, look, get the right treatment, come back when you're ready to come back to work. And we gave him a phased sort of process in which to come back to work. That's really, really important, because there's another statistic in there as well that I've read in the past, a piece of research, is that people who come back to work from being unwell too soon also are more likely to take sick days in the future as well. So that's really, really important. I pay for people when they're unwell. The general gist of that is, if someone is unwell, then it's important, I think, to pay them. The legislation says the first few days that someone is off on the sick, I'm not getting into the rules on that today, you don't have to pay them. But if someone is really unwell for a few days, especially if they've got, let's say they've picked up COVID, for example, and they could be really, really unwell, I don't think it's a good idea to cut someone's wage off for a few days, because it's going to encourage them back to work before they're ready to come back. That is a really complicated thing to manage, I might add, when you have bigger teams. But I think you do need to have a bit of a thought about it, and I have a bit of a kind of an ad hoc approach to it a little bit. If someone does go on to really long-term sick, then we may have to look at the kind of the statutory sick pay and things like that. But it's important to obviously talk to people about this, to encourage them to sort of go and seek the right medical help, find out what's going on, not put them under undue pressure to come back to work, because ultimately they'll feel better supported by the organisation and better valued as well, and it's really, really important. Sort of coming away from that, some of the other things that I think are really important with reducing down sick pay as well is flexible working. Really, really important. I've got 2 small children. I keep saying small children, they're not so small nowadays. But we've got huge numbers of family commitments, and I try to be flexible with my work approach so I can do school drop-offs, pick-ups, and that's the same for the rest of your employees as well. Just because you're the boss, so to speak, doesn't mean you can't offer that as well. It's a huge driver of stress trying to get children from one place to the other. Or let's say you know that someone's husband or wife is unwell, they might need some sort of flexible work in order to kind of support that person as well. There's a lot of things that go into making sure that people are well. Other things, make sure that you've got good hygiene in your own office space as well. Good hand washing facilities, always making sure that soap's full. Hand drying facilities. Are the cleaners doing a good job? Are they wiping down the critical surfaces in the office? They've got an incredibly important job, the cleaner. Often considered the bottom rung in the organisation, but they are a barrier for infection control and really, really important. Some of the things that you can also think about doing is actually, in terms of products as well, is I've put something called a cash health plan in place as well. This allows staff to go and pays for a bit of their prescriptions, sort of eye care, contact lenses and glasses, a dental checkup. It was just one of my colleagues the other day said to me, it was like, 45 quid to go to the dentist. And I said, well, of course you've got the cash health plan, it's not going to cost you anything. That's a great little kind of bonus that you can put in place. And in particular, I had one member of staff where they were unwell, the GP wasn't sure what was going on, and that cash health plan just allowed them to pay for a private consultant appointment and get it immediately and get seen straight away. These are all things that can get your staff back to work really quickly. It's incredibly important, things like eye care when we're using computers. So by providing that cash health plan, it's sort of giving the right message to your members of staff to say, look, go and get an eye test, go and get the right glasses. It is really important. Look as well at your office space as well. Good quality chairs, a nice desk. I'm a big fan of second monitors. It drive productivity, but it actually makes a nicer work environment as well. When someone has a second monitor, they can do tasks more effectively. I'm using a second monitor as I record this as well. I've got a couple of little kind of flashcards on the other, or kind of keynotes on my other monitor that occasionally I glance up at just to make sure that I'm on track in the video. But all of these things, they add, it makes recording a video less stressful. Just provide the right equipment. If someone's got kind of, I've got a sore arm, look at the mouse. I mean, getting a different shaped mouse size, it's inexpensive. It doesn't cost anything at all. Pay attention to what people are saying. They're like, oh God, I find this seat a bit uncomfortable. Get the right gear into your office. I know what it's like. I'm busy, and sometimes we just we're not really paying attention to these things, and we should pay attention to them. We've got a little bit of a sofa area in the office where people can go and have their lunch. Small businesses, that can be tricky to do, but it all adds to health and well-being as well. Try and encourage exercise. I'm recording this today. I feel absolutely exhausted because I've done a massive endurance event over the weekend. Maybe not to that same extreme, but I think it is important to encourage some form of exercise in an organisation. Bigger organisations always provide gyms and things like that. There's reason for that. I think trying to encourage people to do something physical now and again is a really good idea. Also, I think this is my final point as well, is encourage staff into the office. I think we've all got into the habit of working from home. I'm working from home today, yet I was in the office yesterday, and I'll be in the office for another 2 days later in the week as well. I think that's really important. I love going to work. I love seeing my team. I love chatting to them. I love finding out while we're having a sandwich or eating our lunch, what you've been up with the weekend, what's the new plans for the weekend, did you win at the pub quiz? These things are important, and they all drive to health and well-being, and encouraging some sort of social interaction is really important. I think there is a risk that we go and we've been sitting at home and we've been very isolated and we're not really interacting as much. And having a balance, I think, between online meetings and face-to-face meetings is quite important. We're human beings and we're social animals at the end of the day, and all of this stuff really is important. Anyway, there is some very quick ideas to try and improve, reduce down, I should say, the sick days in your own organisation. But the key here is always listen to what's being said in your organisation. There are always clues to kind of how people are feeling. And if you sense that someone's not on top form, just ask them about it. Say, oh, you don't seem to be on the best of form. Are you okay? Anything we can do to help? Sometimes people are just crying out for a quick discussion, and they can feel better for it. And all of this will drive, not just better physical well-being, but also mental well-being as well, which is all important. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.